on Steven Guilbeault leaving his job?
You know what? I really admire his principles. I really do. To stand up like that, like he understands that his principles don't align with the federal Liberal principles anymore. So for him to resign totally, like he had the option of going independent, and he, from what I understand, he's even refusing that.
What do you make of the fact that a number of other people were in the Liberal caucus who also helped implement the previous policies, and they're not standing up to the changes that are happening?
Well, we've asked in the Environment Committee to invite the Liberal MPs who signed that letter to Carney. That I believe there was 14 of them. We've invited those members. We put a motion on the table to say we should invite them to committee to get a clear understanding of why they wrote the letter in the first place.
But what should Mark Carney do about the environmental file? Because right now he's saying we need to please Alberta, or we need to make concessions to them, especially with this referendum coming up. So what should he do on the environmental front? Because Mark Carney's argument is that the country has moved a bit perhaps closer to the center, a bit further right, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. So what would you do if you were him on the environmental front?
I'd be honest about whether or not we're going to make our 2050 commitments, because I believe that's what the Liberal MPs are arguing. And they're not going to make the 2030 commitments, they're not going to make the 2035 commitments, they're definitely not going to make the 2050 commitments. So Carney's actually, like everything else we're talking about, is actually double speaking here. What is it? And I think at the very least you should be honest with Canadians in terms of the targets.
What do you make of this LNG deal that's being announced today? I don't know if you've had time to review, but you have. Okay, so what do you make of that?
I've been following that for a number of years. I've been following just about every LNG project in BC. And I got word quite a few years ago that Ksi Lisims LNG would be basically providing natural gas to Europe. And the only question I have about it was, how? Are you going to go through the Panama Canal? Or are you anticipating the Arctic to actually open up a little bit earlier and later, as usual? Because I think the Arctic is going to become a key question in terms of Canadian sovereignty coming up. And we're really talking about Russia and China actually accessing Canadian sovereign waters. So I think there's more logistics to be talked about in terms of how to get that product from the west coast of British Columbia to Germany.
Is it good news?
Oh, it's definitely good news. Back when I was a chief councillor, we talked about Chevron LNG, who actually left town, as well as LNG Canada servicing Europe. And people were telling us that it wasn't possible. But the original project descriptions talked about actually providing liquid natural gas to Europe, because energy is in big demand, even more so now with the Hormuz Strait and war in Iran.
Thank you very much.
Sorry?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Have a lovely day.
You too.
The LNG deal, is that good for BC?
Steven Guilbeault, sorry, go ahead.
LNG deal's a great thing for BC. Yeah, it's wonderful to see that we're taking advantage of our natural resources, and I hope we see a lot more of it in the near future.
Can we ask you about Steven Guilbeault resigning?
I'm a BC MP. I would leave that for Quebec colleagues.
Quick comment on Steven Guilbeault resigning. What do you think? What do you think of his decision?
I don't know all the details of his decision. I just know he's not there. So.
What does it mean, do you think, that he's not there?
I don't know. I mean that. I anticipate there'll be a by-election, and it's a fairly safe seat for the Liberals. So
The Conservatives are not going to get that seat.
If it's Montreal, I think they're looking pretty good.
What do you think of Steven Guilbeault leaving? What does that mean?
I think Carney's got a problem, and he's going to have to figure out how to deal with it.
What's his problem? What's his problem?
Caucus discipline, I think caucus cohesion.
About Steven Guilbeault resigning, what do you think it means for the Liberal Party? Steven Guilbeault resigning?
I wish Mr. Guilbeault the best in his next endeavors. I think that it'd be very interesting for the Liberals who signed that letter to have the courage of their convictions and to offer their names to the public, be specific about what their criticisms are. we need to get an understanding of how serious Mr. Carney is about actually unlocking Canada's natural resources. Is he beholden to this group? So we have these questions. I think Canadians have these questions. Mr. Guilbeault has the courage of his convictions and has seen that he doesn't have that alignment with Mr. Carney.
Mr. Barrett, could you explain what you were asking about yesterday at Committee of the Whole in terms of the speechwriter for Minister Champagne? What's that about?
So my questions for the Finance Minister at Committee of the Whole yesterday related to the procurement of a service by the Department of Finance for preparing the budget speech and the budget presentation for the minister. And the online open source resources show that the contractor that was used is an employee, is an executive with Alto. Now, there's been lots of talk about Alto and why the implementing legislation for the High-Speed Rail Network Act was included in the BIA in Bill C-15 because the finance minister had previously said that he believed he would be in a conflict of interest if he participated in that. But at the same time, his department procured the services of an executive at Alto to write into a budget bill very specific transport legislation. So instead of having the transport minister stand this up, it's very curious. The minister refused to even engage in a good faith response to the question. So it merits discussion. Was the ethics commissioner consulted? Did this individual have a conflict screen? Were they involved in writing on Alto? So it's regrettable. The minister obfuscated for 5 minutes on that question, which was a missed opportunity, certainly if there's nothing for him to hide.
Is he still coming to the ethics committee?
Well, we hope so. The minister had committed through the Liberal members at committee that he would appear at committee this week. And so we were looking to get answers for Canadians with respect to his September 10th letter to the Prime Minister, where he said he would be in a conflict of interest if he participated in discussions, decisions, debates, or votes on Alto, because he would be in a conflict of interest. He did, of course, go on to do all of those things that he said he couldn't do. Now, the minister's office said that he would not appear this week, but instead would come on the 11th of June. So we will take the minister at his word a second time, I suppose, because committee doesn't have the power to compel the minister, and certainly Liberals have engineered it so that we don't have the votes to do anything differently about it. But we expect that the minister will come, and we'll put very similar questions to him that we did yesterday, because he talked an awful lot in Committee of the Whole, but he didn't answer any questions. So we'll take that opportunity when he comes to committee on the 11th.
Are you glad to see Steven Guilbeault gone? Your caucus has been as a punching bag pretty regularly over the last couple of years. I seem to remember people trotting out the picture of him in handcuffs pretty often.
Look, Mr. Guilbeault's made a decision to step away from his role as an elected parliamentarian. So at this point, I'll offer him my best wishes for what comes next for him. Thank you so much. Have a great day.